Hey everybody, this is Tom and Leslie again with Stage to Sell Design Services, and our subject today is about wages and tips. And where does a wage end and a tip begin? Today we were at the acai bowl place in Tempe. Acai. Acai. Sorry. We were at the acai bowl place in Tempe, and they flipped this iPad around, and the lowest tip on that iPad was 18%. That's what I remember seeing. There's no service there. They're not coming to your table. They're not bringing you dessert, okay? They're not bussing your, none of that, right? So normally, at least when I grew up, service jobs were jobs where you had gratuity, like a porter at the airport or a porter at the hotel. Obviously servers of all kinds. Are we allowed to say waitress anymore or waiter? Is that a bad, that's gender specific, right?
Wait person.
Yeah, the wait persons you were allowed to tip, encouraged to tip. But now, should we be tipping the cashier at Costco? Should we be tipping the cook at McDonald's? Should we be tipping the store helper at Marshall's? Should you just be tipping the jogger that comes down the street?
Okay.
Where does... Now, Leslie has lived in Japan for how many years?
11 total.
Yeah, and can you just tell our listeners, what was the service like in Japan?
Over the top. Amazing.
I mean,
yeah, they
details.
take it really personally. They understand that part of their job really is the amazing, outstanding quality service, and they take it personally. You know, they want their customers to feel really special, and they do. You know, we would sometimes just feel like overwhelmed, and that's not an exaggeration. We would feel overwhelmed.
You told me how they hand your card back to you, your credit. Can you show how that, what did that look like? Both hands.
Both hands.
Both hands.
Yep, thumbs on corners. It's like that.
And then what happens in Japan when you try to tip somebody?
Oh.
No way. No way. No way. Because in Japan...
It's supposedly, it's actually, it's something that they are kind of offended by, I guess.
Right.
I don't know how you can be offended by somebody wanting to tip you, but that's the general understanding, is that it's offensive.
Sorry, I didn't have my video stand, so this is going to be a little shaky, but this is something that I thought was just kind of a pressing topic that I wanted to really go over.
Yeah, I mean, like, I could actually tell you that the day that I got into California from Okinawa, actually it was the day after my son invited us to breakfast. We went to breakfast. We go to this little place in Monterey. We go up to the counter, we order, and they turn around the iPad to us, and I was so like caught off guard. I didn't even see the option of no tip. All I saw was like, you know, the 15, the 18 plus, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like, are you serious? You tip for nothing for ordering at the counter? And then I was further just like in disbelief, because we had to get our own water. We had to get our own cutlery. We had to go pick up the food from the counter. They didn't really do anything.
Yeah, so what I'm concerned about, I think the message that's being sent right now is you don't have to do anything for the additional payment, right? So gratuity is just that. It's not required. It's not compulsory. It's something that's voluntary to give someone some extra reward for their service. Now it's more like, it doesn't matter how good the service is, that you're right at the cash register and that tip is just right up front. And you don't even know what the service is going to be. You don't even know if you're going to get what you ordered. But you just plug in that tip right away. I can't wait to spend some more money on this $6 latte that I'm ordering.
And recently, I saw an option for 25%, which is the most I've ever
it's
seen.
Let me help you as a business owner. I'd like to help our listeners understand who's required, who is responsible to pay employees' wages. That is the owner of the company. The company owner or manager or whoever handles payroll, that's the person that handles payment. So if you find yourself paying de facto wages for staff at your favorite coffee shop, it's going to become this entitlement now where employers are obviously going to know that their staff are making these enormous tips throughout the day. And what's going to happen to their wages? They're going to become like servers, right? Where servers generally have a very small hourly wage and they make very large tips. That's how most servers are going to be rewarded for their labor.
So are we encouraging our listeners to refuse the tip
Not really.
when it comes to things like that, the coffee shop or
Well,
whatever?
I
Unless you feel like they went above and beyond.
I think our listeners know where I stand on this, but this is a discussion. We'd like to have your input. I'm sure some of you that are watching that you've been a server or you've been in that position. Maybe you've worked in a fast food place and maybe you would have liked to have the tips. Maybe you would like your employer to give you a better wage. Maybe that's his call. When you sign up for a job, you're signing up for a wage, right? We know what we're getting into. We know what the wage is before we start working, and we're in an agreement with the employer. Now, when the employer knows that we're getting these large tips throughout the day, or maybe a lot of small tips that add up to a large sum at the end of the shift, would then the employer not consider that, well, I think my clientele can kind of pay the wages for my staff. I'm going to lower the hourly wage. There's a difference between wages and tips. And now the line is becoming very blurry to me, where the wage ends and where the tip begins. I see tips as something that we offer to workers in restaurants and in hotels and other places. I see tips
for a job well done.
Something that you give to people for extraordinary service. It's not something that you're just at the cash register and just like, well, yeah, we want to tack on an extra 18% like it's a tax. I'm just like,
We're already getting taxed.
what is the price for a latte right now?
Well, I ordered the medium today because the large was almost $7.
Plus tip. Plus tip.
Yeah, they wanted it.
Oh, and now during COVID, it's like, oh, you can't touch, this screen. So how much?
You can't sit at our table.
You can't sit
even outside.
But now that you can't touch these things, we want you to tell us what kind of tip would you like me to put down on my screen right here. That starts being quite a bit of pressure where it's not feeling like gratuity anymore, but more like a compulsory wage that we're adding onto our product that we're just buying, because we're not getting any extraordinary service. We're getting a product put down on a tray or on a countertop in front of a kiosk somewhere. We're not even allowed to sit down. We tried to.
Yeah.
So
we did. We
this
were
is
told to leave.
this is an open forum, an open discussion. It's a civil discussion. So if some of you feel differently about this topic, we'd like to hear what you think about it. Please get back to us, and we hope you'll like and subscribe and watch more of our videos. Thank you.